Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ready, Set, Crypto podcast. Something that we're continually looking at for Ready, Set, Crypto are use cases where crypto technologies are being put to use by actual companies that are providing value and creating service revenue. It's good for everybody. Now, we don't take any compensation for these types of interviews and reviews. We're just looking to help move the space forward. So with that, I'm very pleased to have Calvin Leon of HodlBot as my guest today. HodlBot bills itself as the smartest crypto trading bot, using intelligent portfolio automation to automatically diversify and rebalance your crypto portfolio. HodlBot is free to try and always free for accounts under $500. Hello, Calvin. Welcome to Ready, Set, Crypto.
Hey, Doc. Thank you so much for having me on.
Great to have you here. So talk to me about HodlBot. What does it do and how is it different from a trading bot like a Profit Trailer or Crypto Hopper or one of those other automated trading bots?
For sure. So HodlBot is a platform that allows investors to create, backtest, and automatically execute any portfolio strategy. How we're different is we're particularly focused on our indexing strategy. So we're known for our HODL indices. We have a top 10, a top 20, and a top 30 index that investors can use and are pre-made on our platform. And I think indexing is a great way to approach the cryptocurrency market, because if you look at the traditional financial markets, indexes have outperformed actively managed funds about 95% of the time in the past 15 years. So we wanted to bring that passive investing strategy to crypto, and we were one of the first people that did it.
So can you give us an example of so just pick one index and give us an example of the components behind that index?
For sure. So we launched in April of 2018 with our MVP. It was called the HODL 20 allocation. And a little bit of a backstory is me and a close group of our friends, we were traders, and we were initially basically betting on individual coins. And then we came to a point around at the end of 2017, and we thought, we have a long-term stance on crypto. Instead of trying to find the needle in the haystack, why don't we just buy the entire stack? So Anthony, my co-founder, he actually came up with the idea of creating a trading bot that plugs into the Binance exchange and simulates an indexing strategy. The HODL 20 allocation was that first MVP product that we ironed out. And essentially it took the top 20 coins weighed by market cap, capped them individually at 10% each coin to prevent overrepresentation. And it tracked about 87% of the market. So that's the HODL 20 allocation. Since then, we've added the HODL 10 and the HODL 30. The differences being that we actually use a square root methodology, which allows Bitcoin to have a little bit more of a portion of that portfolio.
Okay, so help me understand here. Are you just doing indexing, or can somebody come up to you with a portfolio of their own and say, I want you to automatically rebalance this on a continual basis?
Great question. So we're agnostic as a company. So we're building a platform that allows you to build your own custom strategy. While we think indexing is a good approach, you can create any portfolio on HODlBot. So if you have a certain coins that you feel strongly about, you can create that portfolio on HODlBot, backtest it to see how it would have performed historically, and then execute it.
But does that portfolio, if I create my own portfolio, then can I instruct HODlBot how to rebalance it on a regular basis?
Yes, you can. So you can customize your periodic rebalancing period. For example, I currently have a custom index that I'm running of the top 15 coins with square root market cap methodology. And my rebalancing period is every 7 days. You can do that every month. That's the default that we've set in. We have some users who never rebalance, and so they set 10,000 days. It's really whatever you feel. We've done a lot of studies on rebalancing you could read about on our blog, and we've concluded that there is no best rebalancing period.
It strikes me that for most people in crypto right now, they're kind of struggling to try to figure out how to even create a portfolio at all. So I think there might be some interest in this whole notion of index investing. I mean, it's something certainly that has been proven very successful in the equity markets to this point. Do you have any, can you pass along any sense of, here we are, we're in the second week of March in 2019. And we're still, 15 months into crypto winter here. Can you give us an idea of like what kind of performance that you've been able to rack up in the middle of a bear market?
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, our indexes track the market. So unfortunately, how the market's performing is how our indices, for the most part, are performing. Having said that, we've kind of equipped our users with different tools. One of them is a consolidation or a cash out tool. And that allows you to take your index and kind of rebalance it into a stable coin. So we've seen some of our users kind of use that passive index, but use it quite actively to try to time the market. Obviously, this is very difficult, but for the most part, we're just tracking the market. So unfortunately, however the market's performing is how our HODL indices are performing. Having said that, when we started this, we did something really interesting. We ran a historical backtest of the past 3 years. I think we ran it from March 2015 to March 2018. So it included the beginning of that bear market. And we basically compared Bitcoin, a top 20 index, and then a top 20 index with a monthly rebalance. And what we found is with an initial $1,000 investment, your Bitcoin would be 51 times. Your top 20 portfolio would be 64 times. But by rebalancing monthly and basically capitalizing on the fluctuation in the market, you had 164 times return. So we just thought it was a good strategy for people who believe long-term in crypto and want to get some market exposure. And we found there was a lot of noise in getting started for people that were new to cryptocurrency. So it was a good fit for those early investors.
Okay, so this would be a good fit for somebody that just wants to do simple, long-term, perhaps dollar cost averaging into what could be the end of the bear. We'd never know, but this might be a good time for them to get started on something like this. All right, well, that's really cool. So I think I understand what you guys do now, and that helps a lot. What, take us back to the beginning. How did you get started with this thing, and what made you want to throw yourself out there and create this company?
Great question. So I've been an entrepreneur. Actually, our team has been together kind of working on projects for 5 years. We're based out of Canada, and we were previously working on a crowdfunding equity platform. So we're familiar with finances and come from that background. We moved to Waterloo, which is kind of like the Silicon Valley of Canada, about 2 years ago. Along that time, Ethereum was born here, and we kind of saw that community build. The local meetups get bigger and bigger as the Ethereum developer community built, as well as cryptocurrency started to rise. And that's when we really got invested into the investing side of things. I think what we were really passionate about is we saw that a lot of the financial world had a black box model where they claim to have these complicated algorithms that you need an advisor or a financial advisor to use to get access to. We were passionate about taking that software that these sophisticated traders are using and giving it directly to the users for a fraction of the cost. So that's really what inspired us to create this. If I'm being completely honest, we didn't try to start HodlBot. It was kind of like a natural evolution of ourselves kind of building a product for us. We wanted an index market, so we selfishly built this product. Anthony, like I said, he came up with the idea. He then went on Hacker News and basically threw out a landing page, and we got 750 signups. So we said, hey, there's actually a business here. And we were really surprised. This whole thing, as we've been building it, has been a shock. We've been growing through the bear market. We launched basically during the bear market, been growing about 8% week over week. And we have 1,000 users in over 20 countries. It's something we really could have never imagined, and it's a testament to this industry and still how early we are into it.
That's there's nothing like eating your own dog food when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Like create something, as Adam Todd would say, to scratch your own itch.
Yep. We're a big fan of Y Combinator, and they always say if you're solving a problem for you, you have to validate it. So that's why we built that landing page. But we basically built this product for us. It was Lucas, our CTO. He was actually working at Amazon in Seattle at the time. So we started this part-time. And then we all ended up quitting our jobs about 3 months into the project.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing to do, to hand that notice in. So how can you give me an idea of how much it costs so we establish if you're below $500, that's for free. But if you have a larger account and you're looking to use HodlBot, what's it going to cost you?
So we have a simple subscription of $10 a month. We also accept crypto through Coinbase Commerce, and we have different packages. So it's $27 for 3 months, and then it's $96 for a year. Interestingly enough, we found that 55% of our users pay upfront for the year. It's probably because of the fact that we don't have subscriptions. So it's kind of a pain to consistently update your months. But yeah, it just costs $10 a month. We are exploring different pricing models in the future. We basically started with this as a startup, and if we eventually become a fund and apply for those licenses, then we might see a percentage rather than a subscription.
Do you have a solution to use a crypto payments on a subscription model?
Currently, no. I don't think Coinbase Commerce, from the current documentation, allows us to subscribe.
So you have to do like an annual plan, and then it rolls into on a monthly basis. Yeah, that's the one big problem right now with crypto payments. We've actually run into the same thing too. Is like there's no way to like go into somebody's account and pull those funds out like there is with the current fiat systems.
Yeah, a funny story actually is we grew from 0 to 600 users using Stripe. And then Stripe emailed us and said, hey, you guys look like you're doing something crypto related. You have 5 days to migrate to a different payment provider. So we went back to 0 after seeing some growth in our first couple months. And then we basically gave HodlBot away for free because we were passionate about what we were building, and we wanted people to actually use our product and see if people cared enough to pay. So we went, I think, free for about 3 months, and then September is when we launched Coinbase Payments, and now we have PayPal as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's even in this country, in the United States, it's actually very difficult to establish any kind of banking services whatsoever if you say that you're a crypto company. So an issue across the board. So is there any issue with any kind of regulation with like a United States customer attaching to your service in Canada?
No. So we are purely positioned as a software company. So we work on top of exchanges. Having said that, if you're using that exchange, you have to comply with whatever country that you're in and the laws there. So taxation, for example, is different depending on where you are. So we provide users kind of with information on how to proceed about that, depending on where they're located. But since we're not actually selling any cryptocurrencies and we're just software, we're not kind of under the same legal umbrella as an exchange would be, for example.
So how long is it going to be before one of these big brokers, before somebody comes along and just scoops you right up and then stuffs your algorithm into their service offering?
Hopefully not anytime soon. We're passionate about building this out. I think one of our first hypotheses was that people don't actually necessarily want to interface with exchanges. They just want to simply invest in cryptocurrencies. And I think that for the majority of traders, that interface with exchanges is quite daunting, unless you're an active trader. And for this thing to really get big, we need a simpler solution for people to interface and invest in cryptocurrencies. So we're really passionate about building that out. Having said that, 3 months into our project, we got reached out to by a very large exchange that was interested in an acquisition. We didn't basically go through with that route, but we are open to listening to offers, but we are set on building out this product and solving this problem.
So if somebody signs up with your service and they decide to go for an indexing type of product, and so they say, okay, I've got this much to put into it, let's say I have $500 to put into it, where do those assets sit? Are you doing the custody of those assets?
So currently, no. We are actually looking into a couple custody options with wallet providers and building kind of middleware technology between our solution exchanges and cold storage wallets. Currently, people actually keep their money on exchanges. And this was one of the reasons when we first launched, we weren't sure if our product was going to work. Our big question was, will people keep money on exchanges? And Doc, it's been very surprising. From our data, we get to see, the account sizes. And there's 6-figure accounts of people that keep their money on exchanges long term. I think that has something to do with us working with Binance. We launched specifically with Binance because we believed in the leadership. We knew they were working on DEXs. they were going to be here for a long time because they cared about the technology. We also believed in CZ's kind of vision and his leadership. They've also handled the hacks really well, and SAFU of them kind of creating a fund that's purely around, kind of like a rain check if anything bad happens is really important for our users. So we have a decent relationship with Binance Labs. And if Binance gets hacked, you can kind of guarantee that anyone that lost their money will get it back from Binance.
What other exchanges besides Binance are you working with?
So we are currently working on an integration. It's top secret, but we will be releasing kind of who that is in a month. And there's a couple other exchanges that we're looking into. We're really slow with going through this because for us, each exchange that we work with is not just adding an integration simply as a company. It's us knowing as a business who we're working with and what we're getting into. And I feel like in crypto, people just jump into bed with a lot of different people without actually knowing the full story. So we want to make sure that we're working with reputable exchanges with good track records and ones that offer something more for our users. So that makes sense strategically.
Okay. So right now let's just assume if somebody has a Binance account, they can do this then.
Yep.
And so I guess I'm kind of circling back, and I've got more questions here, and just in terms of the mechanics and the nuts and bolts of this. So if I have a Binance account and let's say I've got 1 BTC of Bitcoin just sitting there, just saying it's a BTC sitting on Binance, and so I sign up for your service, is that service going to API into Binance and then basically say, all right, we're going to split it up and index it like this. We're going to break it up into these 20 components, and you guys manage the trading of those 20 components within that account?
Essentially. So you are basically creating how the bot is going to interact. So for example, you are choosing your rebalancing period. We plug in via the Binance Exchange API, and then we're programmatically making trades. So it's important to note here that we don't have withdrawal access. We only have trade-only API keys, and we can read your account value. So depending on whatever is in your account, when you hook up your Binance account, you will choose a portfolio or a strategy, and you'll choose your rebalancing period, and then the initial rebalance will commence. So as you mentioned, if you had 1 BTC and you chose the HODL 20 allocation, it would take that 1 BTC, and then our algorithm would optimize in kind of the fees and the trades required to get you into that portfolio of the top 20 coins.
And then as that portfolio, I guess the mix of that portfolio, as the pie graph changes within that, as you do the rebalancing, then you do the actual trading and the optimization of that 20. Is that correct going forward?
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So where do you see this? It's hard to ask this question in crypto, like, okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? Because nobody really knows where things are going to be. But what are you shooting for? Some kind of, do you have an exit plan for this, or you're just going to try to stay organic for that time, or what's your sense of that?
So, I think there's a couple different things to distill there. We've built this entire product, like I said, from our users from the inside out. So we have a Telegram community of about 500 users that are kind of actively chatting in there, and we build from the inside out. So we talk to our users about what they want to see next. We have our own takes on where this entire industry is going to be in 5 years. I think that we're going to see a lot of different assets in the traditional finance world move to the blockchain and become tokenized. And we see that eventually we could be working with stocks, and HodlBot can do a lot more than just cryptos. So I think that we're going to see a lot of growth, and as a startup, it's our job to respond and create a product that's solving problems. That's going to depend on what problems become the biggest and what our users want to see the most.
So what is your number one challenge been so far for this company?
Well, building a business that's correlated to market performance is always tough. As I mentioned, we launched in April of 2018. So, since our launch, and as an indexing product that's tracking the market, we've been going down and down in the market overall when it comes to market cap. But having said that, our users, when we talk to them, they have a really long-term stance on the market, just like us. So it hasn't necessarily affected our growth, but that's definitely been a challenge. also just working with others in the space. It's great to talk to someone like you that, is doing a lot of great things for the space and, creating content, keeping people informed on what's going on. But not everyone is like Ready Set Crypto or UDoc. So it's challenging deciding who you want to work with in the space. It's a new industry. And so you really have to kind of make your rounds and meet people before you start just jumping into business with just anyone.
Are you suggesting that some people are out there that are less than ethical?
Yes. For a short answer, yes. People have to be careful, right? Like when we first came out, people didn't trust us. And it was about us kind of making our blogs, giving our algorithm gist, trying to show that, this is my real name, this is who I am. We're not scared of kind of, being in the spotlight. A lot of other, companies, I'm sure everyone knows about BitConnect, have not done that. And there's been a lot of scams and a lot of shady things happening in the market. I think that people definitely have to do their research no matter what they're looking into, whether it's a coin they're planning to invest in or if they're trying to use software. Even us, do your research. We're not for everyone.
Okay. Well, Calvin, that's awesome. I really appreciate you coming on here. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, or how people can get in touch with you, or how people can sign up for your product and take a look at it and kick the tires?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we want to see what people do with our platform. Like I said, we have a create your own portfolio and create your own index section. HodlBot's free to use, even if your account size is above $500. We do have a 14-day trial. If you guys have any ideas of how we can be a better product, if you simply just want to chat crypto, feel free to join our Telegram. And we also do a lot of data analysis. Anthony, the founder, actually, he is one of the top writers in Bitcoin and finance on Medium. He's written for CoinDesk, Forbes, and some of his data analysis has been picked up by Bloomberg Technology. So we have a blog.hodlbot.io. And HodlBot, just so you guys know, is HODLBOT. We've seen all sorts of different spellings. But yeah, we do a lot of data analysis and blogs that are definitely interesting. So feel free to check those out.
Okay, so your main website is hodlbot.io then. That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Calvin, again, thanks for coming on Ready, Set Crypto. And we hope to talk to you again at some point.
Awesome. Thanks, Doc.
Okay. Thanks, Calvin.